Good morning, students of class 9. Welcome back to the online classes now. Let's continue our lesson in English. We are doing the snake and the mirror. So in our previous class, we have talked about or discussed about that writer. He was a young doctor, a homeopathic doctor, and he was practicing, but his income was very little. And he told a story and his experience when he came across a big snake, and he was telling his experience to his colleagues, to his friends, and they were having a chat, and the topic came when they were talking about the snakes, and the writer put up his experiences in front of his friends, and he said that he had a small rented room which was not electrified, and it had a tiled roof, and he used to have his food outside in the hotel or in the restaurant, and it was 10 o'clock at night, and he entered his room and he heard a noise. It was very common because the rat and the writer himself shared the room. That means there were many rats. So, and the sound made by the rat, it was very common, and the writer did not took any notice. So now what happened after that? When he entered the room, he lit the kerosene lamp which was on the table, and just next to the table there was a big mirror and a comb. So let's see what happened after he entered the room. Paragraph 3. After entering his room, the writer took off his coat. After entering the room, he took off his coat, his white shirt, not very white, and a vest. He took off his coat, shirt and vest and hung them up on the peg on the wall. And hung them up on the wall. Number 2, he opened the windows. There were 2 windows. The windows were facing the courtyard, outside the yard. He opened the windows facing the open yard, courtyard outside. There was no ceiling. The room had no ceiling. One could see the beams, the gables, and the tiles. There was no ceiling, and there was a regular traffic of rats on the beam. There was a regular traffic of rats to and fro from the beam. To and fro. The rat used to run on the beam of the ceiling, or you can say the gables. So that was a common sight, and writer, he was used to those noises. Number 3, he made his bed. It was 10 o'clock at night, and it was a summer season, and he made his bed. It was very hot. As we have discussed that the room was not electrified, there was no question of fan. So he made his bed and he tried to lay down. He tried to lie down. He lay there, but he could not sleep. It was too hot. It was too hot. He went outside to the veranda. There was a veranda there. For a little air, fresh air, to cool himself off, he went outside. But it seems that the wind god has taken time off. There was no wind, not a leaf was moving. That was from paragraph 3. Now we are going to paragraph 4. What happens in paragraph 4? Paragraph 4, he went back into the room again. He went back into the room, since the air was not blowing, the wind was not blowing, there was not a single leaf was moving. So naturally it was dark, and he went inside his room again. He opened the drawer and took out the medical book and opened it and kept it there. He pulled the chair and sat down. In front of the table, he sat down. He went back into the room and sat down on a chair. He took out the medical book and kept it on the table. as he had got nothing to do, he took out the book and he wanted to read, but it was too hot, so he could not do it. The lamp was burning on the table. The lamp was burning and it was kept on the table, and just behind the lamp there was a big mirror which was fixed on, which was hanging on the wall, and there was a comb also. The lamp was burning on the table, and there is a large mirror on the wall next to the table. Next to the table there is a large mirror there. When the mirror is nearby, one feels tempted to look at it. Especially this happens when a person is very young. Old person doesn't look at the mirror very often. The young persons, those who are young, they look at the mirror very often. They wanted to look handsome. So when the mirror is nearby, one feels tempted to look at it. So naturally, so did the writer. Therefore, writer sat on the chair and he was looking at the mirror, and he was looking at the mirror. He was combing. He took the comb and he combed, just like that. It was 10 o'clock at night, but he took the comb and he combed his hair, looked at the mirror properly. So did the writer. Writer was tempted to look at the mirror. He wanted to look handsome. He wanted to look handsome because he was unmarried, and that too he was a doctor. So naturally he wanted to have the presence felt by others. So that's why he looked at the mirror and he combed his hair, and he was sitting in front of the mirror on the table, on the chair, in front of the table and the mirror. So at that moment something happens. So we will do in our next class what happens after that. He was combing the hair and he began to think. He decides something. While looking at the mirror, he took two earth-shaking decisions. So in our next class, what were those two earth-shaking decisions he made while he was looking at the mirror? So we'll do that in our next class. So that's all for today. Stay safe and do your regular studies at home. Do not waste your time. So go through the online portal every day. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll meet in the next class.